Using the power of the internet, you can now watch GLC on any TV in the US, Canada, the UK, and Ireland with Roku. Basically, a box that connects to your television. Roku acts as a middleman between your internet connection and your television. So if you have internet service at your home, chances are high that you can watch all of the great GLC programming. And best of all, it's highly affordable too, with only a one-time fee ranging from $50 to $100. Log on to our website, www.glc.us.com, for details on how you can watch GLC via Roku.
Well, welcome to Update. And at our house yesterday, it rained 1 7/8 inches.
You know, it actually feels like winter here.
Yeah.
It does.
It is so cold.
It's
Well, I just
unusual
looked,
for us.
as we said down here, I checked the weather in Roswell, the weather in Amarillo. Amarillo is the warmest place around there.
Really? Well, I was shocked to hear that all of the ski resorts around in New Mexico got snow over the weekend. It's like, it's very early for them to be getting
Yes, it
snow.
is. Yes, it
Well,
is.
especially the ones down near Ruidosa, like Ski Apache and
Yeah.
whatnot. So we've got interesting things going on around here, and I'll fill you in on that. Let's see. First thing I would like to tell you about is Monica. I've got off the phone with her probably about an hour or so ago, and she's doing better. She is chomping at the bits to get back to work, though.
I'm sure.
You know.
So are we.
Yes, I am chomping at the bits to have her back. You know, I can't do her job completely. I simply do not have the time. And you know what? I don't work in the database. I used to, but I don't now. So, in order for me to even access it, I have to call her and say, "Okay, how do I do this?" And I think her head is finally clear enough where she can help me do that
Good.
if I need to. But I'm trying to avoid it because my hands are full.
They are.
They're very full. And they got fuller come Monday evening. We told everybody that Jenny over in the bookstore would be back to work. Friday, we told you she'd be back on Monday. Monday, we told you she'd be back on Tuesday. Those were the messages I was getting from her. And Monday night, she sent me an email and tendered her resignation. I have a feeling that
Immediately.
yeah, effective immediately. So we have, that's a real big challenge because she was the one in the bookstore taking those calls and being there when people walked in. And we just do not have staff that can do that right now.
Right.
I have got to get over there, and I'll probably be doing it tomorrow morning just to package and mail out online orders that have come in, mail out the packages that were left unmailed last week, and process a few things. So, and I still haven't finished packaging those Roundup gifts from last year. So it's like,
Even though we've sent lots of
we have sent a lot out, and you know what? We're actually hearing back from a lot of people now, and they're quite happy about that.
Yes, they are.
Well, we'll share some of those notes with you today, probably. But anyway, Vina, she's our traffic manager. So she works in master control that's in charge of putting on air what you see. They are the second-to-second people in there. Thankfully, Vina has backup. She has Vanita. Vanita's out here running teleprompter for us right now, which she does almost every time we do this program. But she is having to cover Vina's job right now because Vina has gone down for the count. She's sick. She got hit with some kind of bug, and she's not been doing good since Saturday.
That's right.
So please, please, please keep us in your prayers. We are so inundated with challenges right now. One really great thing happened today. I recorded a program with Danya Greenberg, actually 2 one-hour programs with her. And we'll be airing those next week.
Okay.
And who's Donna?
Danya.
Yeah, who is she?
Danya is the gal who was in charge of the project that produced that wonderful Tree of Life version Bible that we've been
Amen.
so excited about around here lately. So we just got in 2-3 cases of those last week too. So I do have some of those available. How I'm going to take your order, it remains to be seen. But anyway, so yes, once again, we are looking for workers in the bookstore. And for the most part, it will require someone who is computer savvy because we work with point of sale. It's connected to QuickBooks. And so there's a lot that goes on in that computer program.
And we'd love for them to know a little bit about a bookstore.
That would be very, very advantageous. Now, I'm willing to train someone who is
Motivated.
computer savvy, but doesn't have experience in point of sale. I am willing to do that because it is very important that we have someone in there who loves GLC and who does understand. Generally, you're not, even I haven't read every book over in the bookstore,
no.
but that you have a general understanding of things and that you're motivated to at least learn about what we have on the shelf so that you can tell people about it and why it's there. So there you are. There you are. Mom and Dad went up to Amarillo Sunday, and the camera crew went with them. They didn't know why they were going, really. They thought they were just going because Sandra Barris was doing her Shabbat teaching, and she did.
She did.
And
Beautiful job.
Ari Abramowitz was there, too. He's with, now I think it's Voice of Israel, which is a radio program that he does with Jeremy Gimpel. We've been interacting with them for several years. Ari was here Monday afternoon to record. That program will air tonight on Light of the Southwest, so you don't want to miss that. Back to the subject. You see this little shofar sitting on the desk here? Mom and Dad were actually honored at that event Sunday night, much to their surprise. And without further ado, I haven't even seen the footage that the guys got, but Corey put a clip together for us so that we can kind of see what happened surrounding the presentation. And so watch this with me, and then we'll be right back.
We decided tonight would be a great night to bless and thank two people that mean more to us than we can ever say. Many years ago, I had this love for Israel. I went to Israel in the 80s, and my pastor, Curtis Stockton, took me. And I've been to Israel many, many times. But many years ago, I had lost my dad, and I took care of my mother who had Alzheimer's. And after that, I thought, I've got to get out of here. And I had been watching a TV station for many years called God's Learning Channel. And as I watched this channel, I learned more and more about my Jewish roots, my Hebrew roots. And it was Al and Tommie Cooper that started God's Learning Channel in Midland, Odessa, many years ago. And for many, every night I'd watch it. So on that trip to Israel, the night before I left for Israel, I used to stay up till 12 o'clock and watch a show called Zola Levitt. And Zola Levitt one night had this funny little Israel soldier, and his name was Jeremy Gimpel. And he was being interviewed by Zola Levitt's son. And underneath that, it said, Jeremy at thelandofisrael.com. So when I got on the plane with Al and Tommie Cooper, that trip meant more to me than ever. But I met two Israeli soldiers on that trip at the Dan Panorama. And that night started something that has changed my life and two of my best friends' life, Larry Latham and Van Sessler. We became friends with these Israeli soldiers, and that has totally changed our life. But if it wasn't for Al and Tommie Cooper letting me go on that trip, I don't know what would happen to me. For all these years, I have learned to love the land of Israel more. I have learned to love the Bible more. And Alan Tommie Cooper, I don't know, you are family to so many of us. And I just wanted tonight to thank you for being steadfast and standing for good principles. And I want to thank you for kind of being my mom and dad all these years, because I can always watch you on TV and go, there's Alan Tommie, everything's going to be okay. But I know that you love Sandra. I don't know if y'all know, but Sandra is doing a new show on God's Learning Channel once a week. And tonight we have the honor to give you an award.
Would you two like to come up here, please? Please.
We need Alan Tommie. Yay!
We have a little proclamation here. Be it known to all those in attendance and to all whom shall read this proclamation that Al and Tommie Cooper have walked in obedience to Isaiah 18:3, in that they have raised a banner on the mountains and sounded a trumpet for the call to stand with Israel. And whereas Al and Tommie Cooper began the arduous task of establishing a television station in the barren deserts of New Mexico in 1982, known as Primetime Television, which was later moved to Odessa, Texas, and reestablished as God's Learning Channel. And whereas Al and Tommie Cooper have stood steadfastly against replacement theology by proving through the use of the Torah, Talmud, and New Testament scriptures that Christians do not replace the Jews as God's chosen people, but through the mercy of God and the blood of Jesus are grafted into the promises given to Abraham. And whereas Al and Tommie Cooper have courageously and heroically sacrificed riches and the easy life in order to send the message of the Lord via the sound of the shofar through the airways of the United States via cable and satellite television and through the internet, and whereas Al and Tommie Cooper have loudly and continuously blown the shofar in all directions, sounding the alarm that God's chosen people are still his chosen people, they are, on this second day of November 2014, granted and bestowed the award of Trumpeter by Texans for Israel and Christian Friends of Israeli Communities in the city of Canyon, Texas. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. It's good to see so many of you here who do love Israel, and maybe some of you are just getting the idea that Israel might be important in God's plan. And it's good to see some of you who have gone to Israel with us, like Mike. How many of you have been to Israel? Wonderful. Not enough, not all of you, but that's a good showing. Israel drastically changed our lives.
I want to say something right there. To you who did not raise your hand, tell you a little story. In 1993, Tommie and a man by the name of Hayseed Stevens, many of you old timers remember him, put together a trip to go to Israel. GLC was going to take them. And they asked me to go, and I said, I did not lose anything in Israel. I had been there in 1967, just before the May independence. We had to stop and refuel our plane. And went into, everybody had to use the restroom. We'd been flying from the Philippines, and all I could see was men carrying guns around. And I thought, what a hell of a place to come to. And that's why I took this attitude. I did not lose anything in Israel. Turned out that one of the women on the trip had already paid her way to go to Israel, and she couldn't go. And in those days, you could not transfer anything, or you could transfer, and we had the money in our pocket, and it was just going to be lost. And I'm such an old tightwad, I said, well, I'll use that money and go to Israel. When I walked off of that plane in those days, you walked off the plane and you went down to the tarmac, get on a bus to go back into the terminal. The minute I stepped off the bus, off of the plane and onto the ground, I had said I didn't lose anything in Israel. Yeah, I did. I found it when I stepped on that ground. So if you got the Al Cooper attitude, I ask you to change it. Right now, Israel's in such a desperate need that I've never heard language come out of the White House like it did this week, and calling Netanyahu something I wouldn't even want to repeat in my mind. And all they said, well,
Disgraceful.
it was disgraceful. But that's what we're fighting. You may not know it, but we're in deep, deep trouble. And if we don't do it, I don't want to stand in front of God and say, Al, why didn't you do this? I beg you, get with the program.
I was reading in my Bible coming up here, I was reading, I believe it was Galatians, where Paul was summarizing, how we are grafted in. The gist of the thing was, and it used to be in my NIV Bible, I would use it quite frequently, our purpose is. And then Paul went on to say, to unite us. We are to be united in one mind and in one spirit. And that's what we've endeavored to do at GLC, to bring us all to understand maybe what Yeshua was trying to tell us about loving one another, loving God with all our heart and loving one another. And I don't know how he's ever going to manage it, but he will, because he said he was going to get us all into one mind and one spirit. We will love one another, and we will stand with Israel. We will be what God ordained us to be. He called us alongside Israel as Gentiles. We are grafted in, and grafted in, we're heirs of the promises. And I don't know of a better deal than that. But God bless you for being here, and thank you, Mike and Margie and Sandra and Ari, everybody. Thank you.
And all you people who love GLC,
Yes.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Well, I just have to say something. I would never have come out to West Texas ever in my life if it weren't for GLC. And I first came out to GLC many, many years ago. I think it was probably 15 years ago. There was some lady who was a supporter of CFOIC and who said to me, there's this wonderful little TV station out in Midland, Texas, which I'd, of course, never heard of. Not Midland and not the television station. She goes, I want to arrange for you to be on that station. And that began then many years ago. And since then, you guys have been absolutely amazing. If it weren't for Tommie and Al, there's so many people out, especially out here, but all over the world, that would not know anything about Israel. So that's my own personal thank you.
Not only that, I can say that my very first interview on a Christian television station was with you. I didn't even know about Christian television stations. So in that way, you're both truly the Abraham and Sarah of Christian television teaching about Israel.
I like that. We have our own Abraham and Sarah.
I feel that old sometimes.
That was such a nice evening.
It was.
Enjoyed seeing everybody.
So surprising to us.
Hi, Peyton.
Yep.
Well, that was really the gist of why we sent the camera crew.
Yeah, that was
so. It was
great.
really good that Sandra did that teaching up there.
It was.
Though, because it gave us a really good excuse to send the camera crew.
Yeah.
Ha-ha.
And she did a marvelous teaching.
So that
did.
was Ari Abramowitz.
Yes, it
the,
was.
The gentleman I was telling you came back with them on Monday and did a Light of the Southwest with me. And it was a really great 2 hours.
It was a really
Let 'em
great
play tonight.
4 hours coming here with him.
I bet.
He's a prince of a man.
Yes.
So I think you might have a letter.
I do have a letter. It says, "This seems a little odd. I have tried for more than 2 years to get just one of these DVDs with no success, and here I get this package with all these," and that's the...
Okay, what she got, because she had, when we did our roundup a year ago, she had requested, instead of the gifts that we were offering, she had requested DVDs of all of anything Holocaust we had done.
Ah.
So that's what she's referring to.
Oh.
We sent her all the Holocaust stuff.
I say.
She goes on to say, "I'm shedding lots of tears these days as I can't watch these precious dear men and hear them tell what they and their families have been through without crying. Al, Tommie, and Amy, thank you so very much. My husband was in the Army in the 782nd Tank Battalion when he was in Germany. He never saw the death camps, but they all knew about them. It's good the Germans were made to see what Hitler had done in 1945. Noah, my husband, was with the troops that liberated Czechoslovakia, and Madeleine Albright was a little 3-year-old girl living there at the time. We have to see that these people are never forgotten. A GLC partner, Norma."
Norma lives in Big Spring.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Norma. We're
Thank
glad
you
that
so
those
much.
programs were a blessing to you. I had no
Yes.
idea you'd been trying to get them. I don't understand why, if you had tried to get them, you weren't able to do that, because we do carry those. But anyway, we
You
have
want to
been...
tell some of the people who have been sending in gifts?
Yes. I haven't made pledge slips out on all of these, but I have to say that I'm loving reading the mail.
Yes.
It's
wonderful.
Monica normally does this, opening the mail and whatnot, but you guys are so incredibly encouraging.
They are.
And here's another one who got Roundup gifts, and this is Helen in Fort Davis. And she says, "Thank you for the Roundup gifts that I received recently. The CDs of Steve Shermett are outstanding. So were the children's books about Israel." What she's talking about is the 4 children's books, coloring books that we carry that teach about different aspects. She says, "I'm renewing my pledge. Watch on channel 39 cable from Alpine."
Praise God.
Thank you, Helen. God bless you on that one. And I got to read this one.
Okay.
This is from Lynn. Lynn, you know who you are. Happy 82nd birthday, Al. That happened last Thursday. Love you, Al, Tommie, Amy. I got a job welding for Star Beef in San Angelo, and he's traded in the Harley that we're accustomed to seeing him on for a brand new, well, not a brand new, a 2010.
When he comes up here and
Black
helps
Harley.
stuff newsletter.
Yes, but
Rain or snow.
Rain or
comes
snow.
on that Harley.
Yeah, he's almost like Gary Bird. Anyway, he says, I'm working 6 days a week, so I don't know when I'll get to see you again. It might be a while,
Might be.
but God bless you. No, God bless you, Lynn. We sure love you.
And we've missed you.
Yep, he's a very faithful volunteer.
Yeah, really.
And Al, Tommie, Amy, thank you very much for the Muslim book and the DVD on Islam with Monty Irfan. Very educational books.
Yes.
The book, or NCDs, the book that she's talking about is Audrey Grace Shelby's Behind the Veils of Yemen. And she says, I'm anxiously looking forward to this much needed information. Thank you in Jesus' name.
Good.
Janelle, Lubbock, Texas. And thanks to all of us at GLC thanks so much for the package that you sent. It's a good teaching tool for my grandkids. She must have got those books. And great-grandchildren. I can use them for teaching them. So thanks ever so much. My prayers are always with all of you there. I send my love to all of you. Hattie, and she says, may God bless you. God bless you, Hattie. She's also from Lubbock.
Mm-hmm.
This one is pretty cool. Thank you, Cooper family, for your service to God and your fellow man. I pray for you. Please pray for me and my family. That's from Doris in Midland.
All right.
You can bank on it. You know what? And I am praying over all of the prayer requests that we're
Yes.
getting to, you know. And here's one that says, enjoyed last week's programs. And she's talking about Roundup. And she says, my favorites, Shepherd Heart, Highsode, FFOZ, are wonderful. Also, Walking with Messiah, Rock Shovels Manuscripts. I think she really likes Steve Shermatt.
I think she does.
Blessings upon GLC, all programmers and staff. That's the Solis family.
And where are they from?
They are from Roby, Texas.
Can we read one article here from Matt Staver?
You can.
You know, we had elections yesterday and had a complete
A turnaround.
a turnaround. And Matt says, first of all, please join me in thanking God for answering our prayers for a radical change in our nation's direction. Unlike most national elections, the 2014 results were so decidedly pro-conservative that we can only conclude that God heard the prayers of America's believers
Amen.
and moved mightily on our behalf. Like you, we praise him that the United States Senate will be returning to Republican control and that Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid has been disposed. But we know there's much work to do in coming weeks to advance the principles of liberty, life, and family in the lame duck 113th Congress. The American people demanded change. The majority of Americans were tired of being ignored, condescended to, and marginalized. So we expressed our concern at the polls and delivered an unmistakable, thunderous message.
We were pushed to the edge by unprecedented, out-of-control government growth, the subversion of the Constitution, the Obamacare healthcare reform debacle, unjustified and reckless spending, and a myriad of other provocations, abuses, and insults from the Obama administration, all orchestrated through Harry Reid's strong-arm hold in the Senate. Staticism has been firmly rebuked by the people.
This election was a historic repudiation of Barack Obama's quest to fundamentally transform our nation and a strong correction of his congressional sycophants. In many ways, the historic 2014 elections signal the start of a new era in American government. Putting a new face on Congress is only the beginning. We must faithfully hold each and every one of our elected representatives accountable for their votes, their legislative proposals, and their willingness to affirm values shared by the majority of Americans.
And that is very important.
It is. We got to hold their feet to the fire now.
Mm-hmm. We do. You know, I went and voted early yesterday morning to avoid lines, and as I was returning home, I was just thanking God. And it was just really hitting me, you know, with all of the news of ISIS everywhere and all the garbage that goes on. It's more precious to me now than it ever has been that I have not just the privilege, but a right to vote in this country. And that, you know, we don't have people harassing us when we go to the polls. So I'm very grateful for what has happened. Been praying for the country and pray that things now can turn around.
And remember, we're still having a roundup, so if you haven't answered my challenge, please do. God bless you.
God.